Welcome back to More Than Just a Yoga Teacher, a podcast for yoga teachers and wellness pros who want to build big businesses, make massive impact, and make the money to match it. My name is Heather Petrosky, and I have built 2 six-figure yoga businesses, and I am here to show you how to do the same. Y'all, the yoga industry is a multi-billion dollar industry. Multi-billion. And almost none of that, like such a very small fraction of that money is in the hands of actual yoga teachers. It's in corporations, it's in big box studios, it's in legging brands, not in the women who are actually doing the work, who are like on the front lines, out there helping people, out there teaching, out there doing the work of changing lives. So I built my business of yoga mastermind to change that. Okay, let's go. Today, I am telling you exactly what the Mastermind program is and how it's going to help you. This is a very tangible episode where I'm going to share my story and all about the Mastermind. You'll get to learn about me and you'll get to learn all about this 12-month coaching program. All right, let's go. This Mastermind that I've built is the culmination of 5 years of being a business owner, 8 years of being a yoga teacher, every single painful, I wish I would have known sooner moment, all of the lessons I learned, everything that it took to build 2 six-figure businesses, and the hundreds and hundreds of students that I have taught, the women I have coached, the students that I've supported, the YTTs that I've run. It includes everything that I have learned in one single coaching container. It's big. And when you build something that is this big, and I hope that you all get to actually experience this in your life, it could be a little scary to talk about, you know? It could be a little like, oh God, I hope I say the right thing. I hope I describe it correctly. So I thought I would make an episode just to talk about the mastermind and what it is and who it's for. And the other thing is I spent a lot of my life, even as a business owner, playing small. And by playing small, I don't mean that like owning a yoga studio isn't big leagues, because fuck it is, like owning a yoga studio is not for the weak at all. But I knew that I wanted something different and bigger. And I wanted my reach to be larger than like my local community. And in order to do the things that I want to do, I have to stop playing small and sort of like hiding in the half version of my dreams. I am done playing small in front of the women who need to know that I exist so that they can go where they need to go. So by the end of this episode, you will know exactly what the Yoga of Business Mastermind is, who it is for, if it's for you, if it's not for you, and whether or not you should book a call with me to just chat and see if it is a good fit for you. That's the whole job of this episode. So before I opened my first business, it was during COVID, and I was a yoga teacher. And when COVID happened, I lost all of my jobs, like all of them. I actually had 7 different jobs at the time. I had my full-time job working for an athletic company, which I loved. It was a startup. It was like a local Philly startup. It was really cool. And Endeavor Athletic, great company. They make incredible clothes if you're looking for a legging brand. So I was a manager for that company. And I also was teaching. I was helping manage a yoga studio and I was subbing there. I was teaching all over the place at multiple different places. And I was like doing okay. I was actually bringing in like about $1,100 a month just teaching yoga, like with my yoga teaching jobs. And then COVID hit and I lost it all. And I had jobs that they were not COVID proof, like I had to figure out what I was going to do. I had to, just like a lot of people, had to figure out like, what the fuck was I going to do? So I actually, at that point, moved back to Bucks County because I didn't want to be in Philadelphia during COVID. It was awful. And as soon as I could, I got a job. Like as soon as we were able to start working, I got a job. And I started working at this spa. I was the general manager for this spa because I had a lot of experience in managing other people's businesses. I guess I worked there for a few months and it was fine, but something happened while I was working there. And the spa had a membership model, which I thought was really interesting, especially coming back into COVID. And I learned so much from working there. I learned so much at every single job that I ever worked at. And it was so clear to me when I opened my studio that I needed all of those experience in order to be successful at owning my first business. So the point of me telling you about this is I remember it was a really nice day out, and I was sitting at the front desk where I sat every day, and it overlooked the parking lot, but it was beautiful and it was sunny, and I couldn't be outside. Like, I had to be sitting at this desk. And I remember having this most specific feeling and thought in my head. And this is going to sound so dramatic, but this was the thought. I would rather die than sit here for one more day. And listen, I know that sounds dramatic, but if you know, you know. And it wasn't about the job. It wasn't about the money I was making. It wasn't about the tasks I had to do. It had nothing to do with that. It was what my body was telling me. It was saying, like, this is not the life that you are supposed to be living, and you know it. And the longer you stay here, the quicker you are killing yourself. And it was in that moment that I knew that I needed to open my own business, that I needed to go work for myself, that I needed to open a yoga studio. And that moment was the death of the old version of me. It was the moment that everything shifted, and I knew that I was going to start taking the steps to opening my own business. Ever since I had that feeling that was so clear, I've had that same feeling every single time I've made a big shift or I've made a big pivot. And that feeling is like, I can't stay here anymore. I cannot stay here any longer. And if you've ever felt that, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about. So I quit. I slowly built the bones of my business in the background. I got my number, and I opened my business banking account, and I started looking at spaces to lease and all of those kinds of things. And I opened a studio during COVID. It was in 2021. I had my soft opening my first week at the end of July of 2021. And let me tell you what, I scaled it quickly. I scaled it really quickly. And you know what else? I burn out really quickly. One time I read this thing that a yoga studio owner that can teach a full schedule of classes that usually can only last for 12 to 18 months. And that was pretty true for me before they will have to make a shift. So I scaled, I burn out, and then I knew I needed teachers, and there was a serious lack of quality education in the area. So I opened a yoga school. So at that time, then I had two businesses. But I'll tell you what, I also grew that yoga school very quickly. And then, long story short, I sold that studio. I moved across the country and I started over online. I still have some teacher trainings going, but I started over online. All throughout all of this, I was pretty lonely in my ambition, if I'm being honest, because there wasn't a lot of other real yoga teachers building real businesses around me. There was other yoga teachers like doing their own thing and building stuff. And yeah, there was like some other studios around, but I didn't have like that kind of like entrepreneurial companionship around me that I was seeking. If I'm being honest, like, I was the weirdo in a lot of situations. I was the one who wanted to raise my prices, and I would get called a sellout. And I was the one who, like, I was very comfortable saying things like, I want to be a millionaire business owner. And I would say it out loud. And I would watch people like cringe in the yoga world. I talk about, God forbid you talk about selling in the yoga industry, and you just watch people like crawl out of their skin or like, it gives me the ick. And it was rough. And a lot of times I felt like I was doing something wrong. Like I was wrong for wanting to grow and build. I was wrong for wanting to learn the task of selling. I was wrong for wanting to train a team to sell. I got a lot of pushback in those areas. And now, of course, I made mistakes. Everybody does. Like, that's the nature of being a human and growing a business. But it felt a little deeper than that. And I am sure most of you experience this. Like, there are mean girl yoga cliques all over the yoga industry. And, on the outside, like, they are all girl power and yada, yada, yada. But really, they're just girl gossip circles that are keeping each other small, and that stuff affected me, right? Like, I wanted to skyrocket. I wanted to grow. And I let the opinions and the whispers of other people get to me. And I needed, more than anything, a room full of women who got it. A room full of women who were doing what I was doing. A room full of female yoga business owners who didn't flinch when the topic of making more money came up. So here's the thing, my darlings, and I believe this with my whole chest. And this might sting a little bit. I hope it does. I am a coach. My job is to challenge you, to push you past your limits, to get you to grow, to shift your mindset, to show you where you're thinking too small. But here's the truth. Most yoga teacher content, like social media, most of what yoga teachers are doing and offering, most of the way that yoga teachers operate all look the same. And it's pretty boring for the most part. For the most part, a lot of the industry is just copying each other. And then we're wondering why nobody stands out. If everybody is just copying each other, then of course it all looks the same, down to offers, down to pricing, down to marketing. And this isn't just for the yoga industry. This is everywhere. If you want to stand out, you have to build something different. And that means you have to be different. Full stop. You have to be different. And daring to be different isn't an intellectual problem. This is where most yoga teachers really struggle. It's a nervous system problem. It is literally a warning bell in your nervous system when you dare to be different, when you dare to stand alone, when you dare to break from the crowd. But breaking from the crowd and being different is how you actually make it somewhere with your business. When you go to do something different, when you post the thing that's different, when you raise your price, when you name your niche, when you share your opinions and beliefs, your nervous system literally is going to pull you back. It is going to pull you back. And when I say pull you back, it literally is like, what if everybody hates me? Oh, what if I get canceled? What if people don't like this? Oh, what are people going to think? What if this is going to make me lose my community? You'll think things like, maybe people are going to think I'm too full of myself. What if they don't get it? What if people talk about me? And you know what all that feels like? It feels like a threat. It's a threat to your nervous system, because that is exactly how your nervous system reads it. Because back in the day, women needed actual community for survival. Without each other, we would have died. And listen, I'm not saying that you don't need community today. That is not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is that by daring to be different, your nervous system is going to respond in a way that forces a lot of people to stop moving forward. And that's not weakness. That's just literally biology. And as yoga teachers and wellness professionals, you know that more than anybody else. Your body is trying to just keep you safe. And safe to your nervous system means the same as everyone else. And that is how so many of us all end up looking, acting, and sounding exactly the same. Hence why so much yoga teacher content and so many businesses are literally a snooze fest. So I had to shed the idea that I work for somebody else to open a studio. That was a shedding. I had to shed the identity of I am just a yoga teacher to actually run a real business. That was a massive identity shed. I had to shed that I am a great yoga teacher and that is my identity, to build a yoga school where I ran the school and taught other people how to teach. That was a shedding. I had to shed being a yoga studio owner, an identity that was really working for me for a long time, that was actually quite successful because I wanted something even bigger. That was such a massive shedding. And those are the hardest ones. When you have to let go of something that is good to get to great. Ooh, it's tough. Every single one of those shifts was a massive nervous system event. I'm still going through one of them. Every single one of them felt scary. And every single one of them, I did them anyway because I had to. Because not doing that felt like dying, just like I felt at that desk at that spa that I worked at. And I'm going to tell you right now, every single successful woman I know, every woman that I look up to, every woman who I go to for advice, they have all had to walk through the same exact thing. The details of the story are different, but it is a very similar experience. Because being an entrepreneur, being a business owner, going against every single thing that society has told us to be and do is not only hard just because like life is hard, working is hard, showing up every day is hard, but it's all on you. It is a whole nother level of self-development, of commitment, of focus that most people aren't cut out for. That's why I built this mastermind program. I wanted to build a room where you don't have to be the one going against the grain all by yourself. You do not have to feel lonely. You do not have to feel like the villain, because being a leader is also being a villain, right? You have to piss people off to be a good leader. Those two things always coexist. Like, if you learn nothing from this, know this. In order to be an excellent leader, you also have to be willing to be disliked. And when you are going through those processes, and when you are going through those identity shifts and you are experiencing quantum leaps and you are shifting into this whole new version of you that the only place has ever existed is a version in your head, it can get mighty lonely trying to do that by yourself. There are moments where you're literally going to be like, am I completely insane? Like, am I totally out of my mind? Like, what am I doing? This coaching program is not only so you don't have to do it alone, but you get the support of people that are also doing it, and also from me, your coach, who has walked through all of these things before. The people outside of this room and outside of this life and outside of like knowing what it's like to build a business, whether it's regular people or people that just want to teach yoga and work for others, the people that still are like out there hustling, bustling, teaching a ton of classes and not making any money, they are not, and maybe they're fine with that and maybe they're not, but they are not going to understand you. And I hope that they don't. I do not want to be understood by normal people anymore. And I don't care how that sounds. I have no desire to be average, and therefore I have no desire to be understood by the average person. I want to be understood by women who want to make real money and aren't ashamed of that. I want to be understood by people who know in their bones that they were made for something bigger. That is this room. That is the room that I built. So let's take a moment to talk about like how people actually succeed and what the essential difference was for me, like what made things actually work. And information, especially nowadays, is literally free. You can go learn as much about anything that you want for free on the internet. That is the world that we live in today. It's pretty cool. So take this in. If nothing else, take this in. I'm about to give you a little bit of a framework of how people become successful. This is super important. This is why most people never break through. It doesn't even matter how smart they are. Like, I'm talking about why people just continue to spin their wheels over and over and over again and never actually get to their goals or achieve the things that they really, really want to, especially yoga teachers. Okay. People love learning. I love learning so much. I love it. If I could spend all of my life just sitting in a classroom and learning new things, I would do that. It feels so good. Oh my God. I'm a person that I listen to audiobooks every day. I listen to podcasts. I am in multiple different masterminds. I buy courses. I buy trainings. I over-educate myself. Sometimes I actually notice that I'm over-educating and I have to put a stop to it because it overwhelms me. Because learning feels productive. Learning feels like growth. Learning is literally like, think about YouTube. That's a learning platform. That's why it's so massive. That's why courses sell. That's why you, yoga teacher, continue to sign up for training after training after training. But learning alone is not going to ever make you any money. I'm sorry, but it just doesn't. Nobody ever made their first 10K because they had more knowledge. That's not why. If learning is at the top, right underneath that, this next step is implementing. And guess what? Even fewer people actually implement. So if there's a pool of people that learn, the pool gets even smaller when people start implementing. That means implementing what you actually learned. So doing the thing that you learned how to do. And that might mean posting the content, sending the email, launching the offer, having the sales conversation, and nothing is stopping people from learning and implementing. People can literally learn and implement all day long, every day of their lives for free. Nothing is stopping you. You could implement every single thing that I teach you on this podcast for free by yourself. No one is stopping you from doing that. But even people that implement always end up hitting a wall, because here is the next layer. Here is the thing that people don't talk about. The people who break through, and this pool gets even smaller, are people that get feedback on their reps, period. This is what I always see in yoga teacher training. The people that put in the most reps and ask the right questions get the most, the people that volunteer the most, the people that get live feedback, the people that raise their hand to practice teach, the people that are willing to get feedback on their reps are the people who break through. This is where Mastermind earns its keep. You post a thing, a coach tells you what was working, what wasn't, you rewrite it, you post it again. You get more feedback, you post it again. You put out an offer, it flops, you get support, you get to take it back to the group, you get to reiterate, and you go put your offer out there again. That is exactly what it was like when you learned how to become a teacher, and that is exactly what it is like when you were a business owner. The people who become masters at what they do are not the people with the most information. They're just not. It is the people who went through the loop. Learn, implement, feedback, reiterate. Learn, implement, feedback, reiterate. Over and over and over again until they found their voice, their offer, their pricing, their niche. Just the other day, it was actually my mom. My mom was like, I was watching one of your videos and I've watched thousands and thousands of your videos. This is not what my mom sounds like. Why am I saying that? That's not what my mom sounds like. It was actually the nicest compliment, but she was saying, you show up so well on camera, which is funny because I don't really feel that way. But I said, Mom, I have filmed thousands and thousands and thousands of videos. I have been showing up, talking to the camera on social media for fucking years at this point. You'd think I'd actually probably be better at it, but here we are, just finally starting a podcast, everybody. But that's what the mastermind is. You're not paying for the information. You can literally find everything on YouTube, on social media. You can buy courses. You're paying for the feedback loop. You're paying for someone to look at what you actually offer, your actual sales process, your actual marketing words, and for them to say, this is weak. Here's why. This is what we're going to fix. This was good. Turn this up. Let's throw some money at that, right? Like you are working with somebody alongside of you and a room full of women who are doing the same thing as you to supercharge your speed and to be able to get actual real feedback on your reps. But the difference between the people who stay stuck and the people who break through is the feedback loop and the reps that most people never put in to get to this point, because they let their initial nervous system response that is just trying to keep them safe, keep them stuck. Okay, now you understand why this actually exists. So let me just go over the nitty gritty of what's included. Let me tell you what's included. All right, darlings, you get 12 months, 1 whole year of coaching, not a weekend, not a 6-week course, a whole year, because that is how real business transformation happens. Okay. For some people, it's going to happen really quickly. For some people, it's going to continue to happen over the year, but the transformation happens over launches, over messy middles, over doubts, over wins, over failures, not in 6 weeks, over a year. That is the magic sauce. You get a whole group curriculum. It's 10 modules of real business education. It's all me. You get the whole foundation. So if you're coming in starting from absolutely nothing and you want to grow your business, this is perfect for you. If you want to fine tune your offers, messaging, your content, all of that, perfect for you too. I even put a little bit of legal and financial stuff in there for you. Essentially, it's the business education that your yoga teacher training skipped. Now, you get weekly group coaching. That means once a week, every single week, we are working on your business, on your pricing, on your launch, on your niche, on your sales conversions. It is not generic information. It is coaching just for you, and it is amazing. You get Voxer access. If you don't know what Voxer is, it's a walkie-talkie app. It's so cool. And it's essentially It's like you have me in your pocket for a year. This is where so much of the magic happens. So if you're working on a piece of content or you need support or you want to run something by me or you need a little coaching on some pricing for a new offer, you shoot me a Voxer, we go back and forth and work it out. It's literally like having a business coach in your pocket. It's one of my favorite things about the whole mastermind. Also included is a 3-day immersive retreat in Sedona, Arizona, because my darlings, proximity matters. The relationships that you build in this mastermind, you will get to bring them into real life. We get to meet each other. We get to spend time working together. I still have very deep friendships with the women that I met in my first mastermind. Those business owners are some of my closest friends and will continue to be in my life forever. They're literally priceless relationships. This is also a small intentional room. This is not a 200-person mastermind. This is not a 100-person mastermind. This is not a Facebook group where there's a community of strangers. This is a small group, high touch, high impact container, because that is how incredible transformation happens. I want to keep this with a very special kind of human inside of it so that I can be of maximum service to you and you guys can be of maximum service to each other. It is going to be such a beautiful thing. Lastly, you get this community, right? You get this community of other business leaders, other yoga industry leaders to connect with, to collaborate with, to celebrate with, to cheer you on, who are all showing up for each other. And that is wildly invaluable. You cannot put a price on that. Okay. Now, who is this for? This is important. So it is for you if you are a studio owner that you know you're capped. That means you are essentially at your capacity. You're teaching a ton of classes. You might even have wait lists for your classes. Your classes might be full or they may not be full. Like what you have is working, but you know that you're capped out. Like you cannot put more on your plate. And you know that there is a next level for you that is not another yoga training. You know that it's business coaching. You know that it's hiring people. You know that it's systems. You know that it's time to scale. And you know that it's probably getting some of your time back. This is a perfect group for you if you are ready to go. If you're not scared of investing in your business, this room is for you if you are done being the person who teaches every single class and runs your whole business. This is also for the teacher that is lost in her certifications. And what I mean by that is, and this is very common, I have a client and I'll ask her, who do you help? And she can't answer it. All she can do is list out the certifications that she has and the class styles that she teaches. Do you know what I mean? It is for you if you can't see who you are meant to help because you're hiding within your certifications and what you're certified in. Inside of our coaching program, we will pull that out of you. We will pull out your unique gifts, your zone of genius, and figure out exactly who you were meant to help and lock down your messaging around that so you can build something real and the right students come to you. This room is for gifted teachers who just never have been able to pull out the exact roadmap of where they want to go and what they want to do and have a little bit of that shiny object syndrome. So if you know you're a good teacher, but you can't actually explain who you help and how you help them, this room is for you. This room is also for the woman who knows she is meant for more. I've talked about her a lot. I've talked about her as me, right? The person with that feeling that I described, that feeling of scared, but also excited because there's this little feeling in your gut where sister, you are meant for more and you can't stop thinking about it. The thought of staying the same for another year literally feels like dying. It feels like death. And you are not willing to just go it alone anymore. You're ready to move. I know that feeling well because I lived in it. I know it in my bones that I am meant for something so powerful. And I know that you do too. And when my actions don't match that knowing, that's where my anxiety comes in. That's when things start to get awful in my mind. That's when imposter syndrome comes. That's when I start to spiral. right? When my actions don't match that deep knowing I have. If you have that feeling too, I cannot stay where I am, or that feeling that I am describing in the pit of your belly, or maybe it's in your chest, this room is for you. This is where you get coached, challenged, guided, and held accountable to the version of you that you know that you are supposed to become. That is who I built this for. Okay, so who this is not for. And I'm saying this because it's important, right? Because there are people that this program is definitely not for. If you want a yoga certificate, another yoga certification, this is not that. We will not be breaking down asana or cueing. Listen, I love a good yoga teacher training. And let me tell you what, that's what I did for the last few years is I taught yoga teachers how to teach. And I am a hell of a cuer, one of the best, but this is not that. If you want a weekend workshop, this is not you. This is not for you. This is a year long. If you want to like passively watch videos and courses in your own time and you don't want to show up live and like be put in a seat where you're challenged, this is not for you. This room is going to help you be seen. Yeah? So if you're not willing to be seen, this might not be the place for you. This is also not right. This is also not for you if you're not ready to invest. And I don't just mean money. I mean time. I mean invest in your voice, invest in the emotional work of becoming the person who can hold more, who has a bigger capacity. This investment is a growth container. What you're really investing in is becoming a woman who runs the business that you want, right? Like, money, yes, we have to invest money, but money is just an energetic exchange for a service. It's not more complicated than that. You are actually investing in the woman who you want to become. So if that doesn't sound like what you want right now, this isn't your place, and that's cool. Be honest with yourself and like be honest with what you want and what your goals are, because if it's not you, it'll just be a nightmare for everybody. You know what I mean? If this does sound like you, if this does sound like it is for you, like get ready, buckle up, baby. In yoga, we call it tapas, discipline, the willingness to stay in the heat of the work. So let's talk about what this looks like. Right? A year from now, you're in, you're doing the work. You have a rock solid niche. A niche means like who you help specifically, not everybody, because you don't help everybody. Just like everybody shouldn't like you, you shouldn't help everybody. But you have a clear niche you can say in like one sentence with so much ease. You have a signature offer that you're totally in love with that feels so aligned for you, and it makes so much sense. Your pricing, hear me, your pricing matches the value of what you deliver, and you don't flinch when you say the number. You hear me? You don't even flinch. You have an email list that actually reads your emails and buys from your emails. You have a content system that doesn't burn you out. Like you're posting on social media regularly, and it's not like this massive burden. Yes, that exists. I live in that world, and I can teach you how to live there too. And I promise you, it's like not nearly as hard as you think, because you have to learn the underneath. You have to get your foundation right. That's when content becomes easy. You're in a group chat with other women who get it. Like you have a new yoga business bestie. She's the best. She's feisty, and she's always telling you to double your prices. You've been to Sedona, Arizona with all of these women, and you've had a mind-blowing transformational experience in one of the most spiritual places in the entire country. I have been to several in-person mastermind events in my life, and I will never forget them. Each one of those events changed me on a deep level. You've launched offers. You're generating revenue. You're blowing your own mind. Like you are doing things that you literally didn't know you were capable of. And you are in a room full of people cheering you on the whole way. Your bank account reflects the work that you're doing. Your nervous system is settled. You're not teaching 15 classes a week resentfully. You're running a real business. You don't have to have any side jobs, and you fucking love your life. That's the vision. That's what we're building. If that feels like the woman that you are becoming, then this is the right room for you. Okay, here's what happens next. Underneath this podcast or YouTube video, however you are watching it, there is a link to book a call. Sign up, book a call, or hit me up on Instagram and message me the word mastermind, and we will set up a time to chat. What happens in that call? It's actually so much fun. Like those calls are the best, if I'm being honest. They're about 30 minutes long. We just chat. We talk about what you're doing and your dreams and where you want to go. And we figure out if we can make it work. That's what we do. It's so simple. It's quite casual. I learn about you. You can ask me anything you want. And we figure out if the mastermind is the best option for you. And if it is, what the actual steps are to make it work for you. And if it is not a good fit, I will literally tell you. I will be like, this is probably not the right move for you at this time, you know? And that's all good because it's not supposed to be the right thing for everybody. Okay, my loves. I hope that this was helpful. I hope that you learned something. And most importantly, if this feels right for you, then go ahead and book your call or message me on Instagram at WeBeYogaOfficial. I can't wait to meet you. And I will see you on the next episode.